Good morning and welcome to the WinTrade webinar. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Simon Osham, and with my colleague Bruno, we'll be taking you through the key changes to the WinTrade system this month to help managing your trade transactions simpler and faster. The first change is quite a significant one, and that is that we're moving to a new look and feel with much easier navigation and simpler menus. So going from that style you're familiar with there on the left-hand side of the screen, across to a new interface with different menus and workflows and indicators, which, as we'll show you today, has some good advantages over the current design. The second key change is that WinTrade is now available in multiple web browsers. You can use the latest version of your preferred browser to log into WinTrade, and it removes the current dependency on Internet Explorer. A third key change that's been asked for some time is mobile access. WinTrade is now available to view on the web browser of your mobile phone or tablet, and the screens were designed to move up and down and scale depending on the device that you're using. There's no app to download. You simply log in via the web browser on your device and save that as a bookmark. And fourthly, we've created a range of what we call deeper insights. There's new reports, more data export options, and some quick access views that allow you to drill down into the detail of your transactions within a couple of mouse clicks.
Well, the main dashboard would detail, you can actually customize this, right, which we'll go through shortly. Right now, you can default it to when you first open up to automatically come up to your letters of credit, your collections, or your trade finance, or whichever product you've actually got in there, right? But if you have it as your dashboard, you can actually go to your individual products by either clicking on the link on the left-hand side here, or alternatively here in the dashboard by clicking the individual product. So for example, your letters of credit, you click on there, and it'll bring you automatically into the letters of credit module. So here is your profile, your individual profile, right? My profile, and it brings up your details, right? So these are basically you as the user, right? Your notifications tab, right? You can click on individual items here to what you want to be notified on, right? Whenever there's an action in WinTrade, right, WinTrade will send out an email notification to the individual user. You can tailor that to your own individual needs. You might want to know when an import LC is issued, or an amendment, a payment. If you don't need to know some of those things, you can take the ticks off and customize it to your own settings. Okay, so that's your notifications. There is also a new function that's been introduced into WinTrade presently, and that is the calendar function, which we'll go through in a moment as well, right? The calendar function allows you to add notifications in a calendar where you can click on the calendar and see what's coming up, or alternatively, you can actually use your outstanding liability report as you currently do in the current version of WinTrade. Okay, what we'll touch on now is we'll go through and look at the calendar. So the calendar is here. It's the third icon at the top. Right, and it gives you a calendar function. Now you can set it for days, weeks, months, year. Right, now if you were doing it for today, for example, if we scroll down to the bottom here, you'll see the individual items here, which states the type of transaction. So you've got letters of credit here, trade loans, or funds transfer you're not going to have, right, or collections, and you can actually add. You can create an event in there, right? So let's just say you've got an import collection or a trade finance loan that's due today, for example, right? You can actually, and you need to log your instructions by, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. So you can create an event, right? Summary, you can title that anything you like. Trade loan, F156. Okay, the event date, today, event time, we'll set it at, say, 1 o'clock, because obviously I can't set it at 9 because of the time at the moment. You can put a reminder date in there. This is if you were setting it in advance. If you were setting it in advance and you're setting it for tomorrow, you can put a reminder in for today, or if you're setting it and a reminder for yourself in, so if you're setting one up for a week's time and you wanted a reminder the day before, you can set it as a reminder the day before, and it'll actually notify. What will happen is it'll appear in your calendar the day before as well. So it's just a matter of checking the calendar. Now, bear in mind, and we'll just save the option there, and it should bring it in there. Now, bear in mind that this is only a calendar function. It's not an actual email notification that's going to come out to you to remind you. You'd have to physically go into the calendar to see what you've got due on that date if you choose to use the calendar function. Alternatively, you can still use your outstanding liability reports. Under import LCs, we'll click on issue, and it'll bring up a main grid. Right now, previously you had an option down the bottom where you would create new. Now we've got it here, right? So we hit create new, right? And obviously we'll quickly go through the actual screen so you get a feel for where the data is inputted from. So applicant references is your reference number, how you can identify it. So I'll just put in here test, right? It'll automatically default you as a customer. The beneficiary, right? We've got a series of beneficiaries down here that we've preloaded, and you can actually preload those. The way you can preload those is you use the plus sign, right? And you have to add the user, so you hit this plus sign at the top. It opens up the boxes. So we'll put in here 12.2. And we'll put an address in here. Whoops. Okay, and we'll choose the country, which is Australia. And we'll save that. And even though it populates it there, if you needed to use it for a next one that you're doing, next import LC you're doing, it'll be in the drop-down box automatically. Okay, the advising bank is exactly the same. Like we've got a list that we've been using for testing, but you can go through and add as well. So if you click the add, you'll be able to add a new bank in there, and then it's just a matter of clicking on save, and it'll populate it in here as well. But for the point of this exercise, we'll just select any one of them. So we've got the party information, then we've got the payment information. Now what will happen, I'll show you on the next screen, we'll change to the payment information. So payment information is basically your expiry date, your dollar amount, any tolerance, etc. Right? But what will happen is if you miss putting some information in there, up the top here, you see this number that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Now they basically work like a traffic light. So number 1, so once you've completed number 1 in full, it'll go green. If you don't complete a section in full, it'll go red. It'll still allow you to proceed to the next section, but what it'll do is it will not allow you to approve it until all 5 are green. But we'll use this one as an example when I'll show you how the red traffic light comes into effect. So we'll choose the currency, US dollars, amount, we'll just put in there $20. Right, tolerance, if there was a tolerance in your letters of credit, you could go plus or minus. If you had 10% tolerance in there, right. Now, we won't put an expiry date at this stage, so I can show you what happens here with number 2. Right, presentation period, obviously, to present documents, we'll put 10 days in there. Right, if I continue here to the shipping information, I should get an error, unable to validate panel to continue. So if we hit OK to continue, you'll notice here that there is red traffic light at the top, which means that there's a section that's not filled out correctly, right? We can continue on, so we'll continue on. We'll go back to number 2. So we'll put the latest shipment date as the 1st of May. Partial shipments allowed, transshipments allowed, shipping terms. From the drop-down box, you've got your shipping terms. So we'll go free on board. Right, shipment from, we'll go any port in Japan. Again, these are all phrases that you can add, right? So if you had any Chinese port or any US port and it wasn't in the drop-down box, you go and create it here, short name, save it away, and it'll be there in the drop-down box for you to use next time around, right? And it'll be permanently in there. Right, shipment to, where we want it to come to, we'll just select the Australian port. Again, you can, from the plus sign, you can add Sydney, Australia, for example. I'll do this one for you. Short name. Sydney, Australia. Text. Australia. We'll save that one. And if we click on the drop down box here, it'll be permanently in there for you. So you can actually, all these plus signs, you can add your templates in there. Okay, all other charges to be paid by the beneficiary, right? So the overseas party will pay for their own charges. Right, we click on description of goods. Don't worry about that error. Okay, again, we can put phrases in here. So if we were shipping the same product over and over again, we can just add a phrase in there. So we'll put cars, description, oops, cars, and we can put in there 500 holding cars. Okay, and we'll save that away. And we've got it in here. Now, in order to get the description of goods into the description of goods box, we can either type it in there manually, right? If you prefer to do so, or if it's the same thing, you can put it in there as a phrase, you click on the phrase, and you move it across to the description of goods. So we're on option number 5. We've missed on option number 2 with the red traffic light. So if we click on the actions, right, and we hit save, you notice it won't let you save it. Right, unable to save the transactions, please correct validation errors. Place of expiry is the beneficiary's country. That should give us the okay then. Okay, so we've got a green traffic light there, right? So all we need to do now is we've completed all 5 steps. If we click on save, it will allow us to save it. Transaction is successfully saved, and there's my $20 transaction with an in-process status. So what we'll do is we'll go and create a new trade finance for you. So we'll go click on issue, and we'll go create new. Okay, now there is still a hyperlink here where we can click on to get a copy of the actual TT request form, the e-form that needs to be completed and uploaded. Right, so you can save that anywhere on your PC. So for this example, we've already saved it. Right. Loan type, if you're an importer, you'll always select import. If you're an exporter, you'll select export. Right. Now, make sure you select the right one, because otherwise when it comes through to us as current, we can't change it around. Currency, right, let's just say we're paying by US dollars and we've got a booking, but your loan is in Aussie dollars, so we'll select Aussie dollars for your loan. Customer reference is your reference, how we can identify it. How you could identify it if you had to go back. Maturity date of the loan. Let's just take the loan out for. You can either select a maturity date and when you want it to mature, or you can select the number of days. So we'll do this one as 90 days. Right, interest will always be at yield, and the dollar amount. So let's just say it's $20 Australian, which is the equivalent, say $15 US. Establish on. Now this is a key feature that has been introduced. You can actually preload your trade finances in advance, and notify us on what day you want us to establish it. So, for example, if you want us to establish it today, you'd leave that as today's date. If you want to establish it in 2 days' time, let's say Friday, right? We click on the 14th. We will establish it on the 14th for you. Okay. Then we'll go to the payments option. Okay, payments option. Right. We'll click on refer to additional instructions. Right, where you want us to process the TT. TT as per attached, and you've got a booking. $10, right, and your dealer reference. Okay, there's your dealer reference. So we'll do the telegraphic transfer, paying your supplier $15 US. Right, we'll convert it at 72. We'll use the booking reference number. Okay, and you've got your traffic lights up here, part 1 and part 2. Right, we should be able to save this away. Transaction is saved successfully. Right, so there's your transaction there. Now what we need to do is we also need to upload the TT request form, and in the event of commercial invoices, you need to upload your commercial invoices as well. Right, so you do it the same way as what we used to do before, where you had an images box down the bottom here. You click on you make sure there's a tick in the box on the right, on the left hand side. Under more actions, right, there's an images box. Okay, we want to upload the image. Right, we want to upload the TT form. So from the drop down box, just select the TT form. We'll go and browse. Okay, so your TT form. Okay, and we click on upload. And it uploads it. Right, so we'll close the browser off. Right, if we wanted to view it, we could just click on images, the TT forms there, and there's your TT form that would be completed. Okay, you do exactly this. You'd follow exactly the same steps to upload your commercial invoice. There's the transaction there at the top of the grid there. Click in the button on the left-hand side. Click on approve. It'll open up the box for you to put your password. So that hasn't changed. You still put your password in there. Put your password in there. Click on approve, and you'll get a message that comes up on the screen saying that your transaction is fully approved. The other key feature that has been introduced is that your prepayments can be done online, right, which they could before, right? So you'd select the transaction, right, and you'd click on the repayment button will open up automatically. So if we take the tick off, the repayment button's grayed out. We put the tick back on, the repayment button opens up. We click on the repayment option, right, and that brings you details of your loan, right? Option number 2, right, this is where you click on your payment options, repay principal and interest in full, right? You can prepay. Prepay, this is the new feature that we've introduced, prepay principal and interest in full. Okay, the account number you want to debit, so Aussie dollars, and the prepayment date. So you prepay on, you click on the box, and you can select which day you want it to prepay. So now that was due on the 17th. Let's just say we want to prepay it tomorrow. We can select it tomorrow, and we will just go to the payment options, right, through to additional instructions. Okay, so we select your account details. So click across to enter payment instructions below. So we'll go to list of accounts. We'll select your account from the drop-down box. We'll put the dollar amount in there. I think it was $1,000. Right, we'll click save. It automatically populates it down here. So very similar to what you're currently experiencing. And we've got the 3 traffic lights up here. 2 of them are green. The third option is what we're on now. If we save it, it should allow us to save in your payment box. Put a dot in the right, because obviously it's a payment, not an issue anymore. Right, we click on the approve button. Put your password in there. Click approve. and your transaction you should get a message on your screen saying your transaction is fully approved. Your reporting function, you click on your reports at the top here. You can select by individual products, or alternatively, most of the customers would be looking at outstanding liability reports. If we click on other reports, all products, we've introduced a new report there called accrued interest, which may be handy for you come financial year. Outstanding liability report is what you would be used to now. Now, if you're a customer that you can actually export the file into various formats listed below, but I presume most will go to an Excel spreadsheet, and you'll be able to data sort it in any order you wish to once you've actually put it into an Excel.